Across the pond we go for our first international foray this NARL season. We're racing in Portugal. Algarve International Circuit is a technical test of skill and patience alike, and it has drivers begging for grip at all angles. Join us tonight for round 2 of the North American Racing League. Welcome to Pitstop TV and the virtual Portimao, Portugal. That's difficult to say twice fast. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV with Mason Houseman alongside. It's a pleasure to join you for coverage. There we go. I'll get this out one day. We're joining you for coverage of NARL GT3 Season 7. Finally, there we go. Tonight's coverage from Portimao is brought to you by Moradnis, JS Consulting, and Screw Compressor Service Incorporated. Mason, with that tricky intro out of the way, this tricky racetrack is going to throw these drivers with just as much of a loop. It's going to be a difficult race for these guys. 60 minutes around a very challenging technical circuit.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of incidents tonight. You know, there's a lot of off-cambered corners here that will get these cars loose, but there's also a lot of corners that will push this car to its limit. So you're going to see a lot of tire degradation tonight and maybe a lot of heated drivers tonight.
Heated drivers, heated tires. It's going to be a whole lot of fun this evening at Algarve International Circuit. It goes by 3 different names: Portugal, Portimao, Algarve. You can call it whatever you want. It is a tricky racetrack, and I'm glad we have this track now to kind of visualize things. Trouble spots we've talked about even before the broadcast. Turns 1 and 2. Turn 4 has been talked about by a lot of drivers. I think turns 8 and 10 will be challenging, and certainly the run-up to turn 12 and 13 is going to be a passing opportunity, I think. I personally have the most trouble at turn 10. You go down the compression at turn 9, come back up the hill, and I just have no clue where to turn in. I can't see the racetrack in most of these cockpits unless I move myself in the driver's seat up and physically have that angle looking down at the racetrack. I wonder if any of these drivers have thought of that, have thought to move their driver position in the sim up at all, because it is so difficult to actually see where you're going.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. The altitude change on these corners is insane. You go into turn 4, it's a uphill left-hander, and it's completely blind, so you don't know if there's a car spinning there. It's also really hard to see the curbing there. And then you go into turn 8, which is an uphill right-hander, really off-cambered, really easy to get loose, and you're not able to see over the corner until you reach the very tippy top of it. And like you said, to turn 10 and 11, you can't see when you're getting off. So you're going to see a lot of drivers, I think, backing off a lot of these corners until they start getting to go time.
We'll see exactly how things shake out this evening. Thomas Rayleigh is fastest so far in practice. I want to cover some practice times quickly before we talk about point standings, because Rayleigh is fastest. I'm going to get the right picker up. There we go. Rayleigh is fastest at 142.454, which is a blistering lap time. Scott Reister second quick, Ignacio Casamine third, but there's an outlier here, and that is Ken Copeland. We were talking about it right before we went live here to Mason. Ken sits down in 23rd right now overall. That is behind 2 Division 2 drivers, and that is second last of all Division 1 drivers, second to last. Only Mike Braun is slower in that class right now. So Ken Copeland, race winner a week ago, is having some trouble here at Portugal.
Yeah, it's definitely not a situation you want to be in, especially when you're leading the points after week 1. But I mean, he is tied with Miguel Colon. But it's definitely a situation you don't want to be in. You put a lot of pressure on yourself going into qualifying, especially when we actually go to the race. You're going to look at the track and you're going to be like, whoa, I'm way farther back than where I want to be. So he's going to have a lot of work to put out today, but I mean, if there's anyone to do it, it's going to be him.
We'll see how the day goes on for him as he starts, well, isn't starting off poorly just yet. He's just got a slow practice time for now, down in 23rd position, has a lot of work to do to pick up that speed through qualifying and the race session. But let's take a look at point standings coming into tonight. This is the Division 1 class. Division 1, of course, is relatively tight right now. It's going to spread out as the season goes, but it's only the first race, only after the first race here, Mason. Only the second race this evening. Everything is still tight. That said, I think we've already seen a lot of the cream rise to the top. Guys like Miguel Colon, Scott Kimbrough, David Schwartz, they will be drivers we talk about all season long. Ken Copeland has me a little worried tonight, but Adam Brockway, Paulo Gadai, those are other drivers we'll talk about all season long. And then we've got a couple of drivers being added tonight from Ride Sim Sport, Yannick Steinhoff and I got to look for him here on my list, Thorsten Ulrich. They are each going to be, I think, rather strong drivers in this field as well. So they're not on the standings graphic just yet, but they will be after tonight.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough to know like how a lot of these newer drivers are gonna act, but you completely forgot about a name that's sitting in third right now. You forgot about Ignacio. You know, he's a driver that had a little bit of bad luck. He had actually a screen freeze, if I'm correct. That's what you said, right?
Yeah, screen freeze in VIR coming out of Hogpen.
Yeah, that's a situation you don't want to be in, especially when you're leading the race. But you cannot forget about Ignacio. He has a lot of speed in that car.
On down to division number 2, Mitch Buenaventura leads the standings, and you might notice something out of these standings. If I pull the division 1 back up real quick, the 50-point number is awarded to the winner of the race. So 50 points for Ken Copeland, then 33 points for Mitch Buenaventura, and you're wondering maybe why he didn't get 50. Well, it's not because, well, it's, let me think of how to word this. Basically, points are earned per finishing position as a whole collective. And this is something unique to the North American Racing League. Some leagues do this, some leagues don't. It's kind of like hit or miss on how leagues kind of treat this class situation. But in this case, in the North American Racing League, points are earned by overall position in the race, and then they're split down into their classes. So it's 50 for the race win no matter who gets it, whether it's a Division 1 or Division 2 driver. We haven't had a Division 2 driver get the overall win just yet, but they could theoretically get that 50-point number and have all those points to start the season or to add on to their season or whatever. But it's an overall position in the race and then split down into their categories from there. That's why Mitch Buenaventura is leading and has the win in class, but only has 33 markers in the standings. So I think that's something that we need to cover going into this season, going into the first point standings graphics of the season. That's just super important to have in mind, because that will affect these battles as they go on. Because you might think a Division 2 driver can let a Division 1 driver go, but that's a point they're losing. So it's going to be very important for us to keep in mind as the season goes on.
Yeah, it's very difficult, you know, because it's all to lose now for Division 1 drivers. I mean, if a Division 1 driver wrecks out, that's I can't even do the math on that one. That's a lot of points you're losing to your next rival. So you need to be on point. I mean, for any division right now, but for Division 2 drivers, it's all to win for them, and for Division 1 drivers, it's all to lose for them.
Taking a look at Chow Trent as we move into qualifying coverage. Bruce De Carvalho's on track as well. Teammate to Thomas Rayleigh, who was oh so quick there in practice. He's going to start his lap, and let's ride on board here with the Porsche of Bruce De Carvalho and take us for a lap around here.
Yeah, you're going through turn 1 there. You got to be careful on the curbing there. Going through turn 2, another one of those corners you have to be careful on the curbing. Then going turn 3, super hard braking. Keep your car all the way to the right. And then here's that blind left corner into 4. You got to be careful on the gas here. You can see a lot of cars get loose. Full power. Get us on the power as soon as you can, but don't spin the car. Then going into turn 5 here, super hard on the braking again. This is going to be a first gear corner. You're going to see a lot of these guys run first. Keep all the way to the left. Get on the power as soon as you can. Take up all of the track. Don't get that X there, because that will ruin your qualifying. And then going into 6, a flat out corner. Then going into 7, you want to start braking as soon as you touch these curbing. Then going into 8, it's that other blind right-hander. I mean, you're going to see right here, it's completely blind until you get to the very tippity top. And I mean, you can't see, now you can see it. You're going into 9, still a full throttle corner. And then 10, Andrew, this is where you see all your problems, 10 and 11. And you're going to see right here, going out of 11, it's super blind. I mean, you can't see anything there. And then going into 12, it's not really a full throttle corner, but if you want to go for it, you can do it. And then hard braking into 13, you're going to see a lot of overtakes there happen tonight. And then into turn 14, it's kind of a really harsh corner, but you can take it nice, take up all the track, go all the way out there, and then going out into turn 15, you want to keep your car on the right side on the rumble strip, as you can see there, and all the way home to the green flag.
And it's going to take a lift there for Bruce De Carvalho and everybody else. It's going to take a little bit of a lift in turn 15 rather, coming around the back end of the circuit and back onto the front stretches. Ignacio Casagnina straight to pole so far. Bruce De Carvalho will go 4th quick. That's a solid qualifying effort already, and he's got some work to do. He is 5/10, a whole half second off the pole.
Yeah, you can't be looking at the times on this. I mean, you're going to be looking at the times and thinking, oh, I'm way too far back. But you have to keep your headspace. I mean, as soon as you lose that headspace, you lose your focus, and then you can't do the laps because you're thinking more about time than you're thinking about yourself on the track.
Let's look at Adam Brockway and his Ford Mustang. And I don't think we covered it properly last week at VIR. These drivers are locked into their car choice for the season, so we'll see Brockway in this Mustang all season long. Once they make their car choice at round 1 or round 2 in the case of Thorson and Yannick, they are locked in for the season. So Thorson and Yannick are locked into that McLaren. You've got Adam locked here into the Mustang. We've got Scott Kimbrough in third, locked into an Acura. And these drivers have to choose this car the rest of the season, or they will be subject to penalty.
Yeah, going to the Mustang and the Acura, I mean, it's always going to be a wild choice since they're newer cars, but it seems like it's working very well for them. You know, both these cars are very balanced. I mean, the Mustang is going to push out a little bit more because it's got a lot of front-end downforce. When you're talking about the Acura, which is a mid-engine car, it's going to have a lot more on the rear. So you'll see a lot of that stuff happen in each corner, and you can see on the straightaways. Most of the time the Mustangs will be faster than the straightaways, but as Ignacio goes even faster with a 42.697, that's almost 2/10 faster than second right now.
And it's getting closer and closer to their practice time. So if we cover the weather conditions here quickly, 67.6 degrees in the air, 73 on track, mostly cloudy, and there have been several clouds throughout practice to keep the track temp down. It's not too hot. These guys could pull off a couple of really sick lap times. And there we go, a 42.4 from Paulo Godai. That is really blistering around here.
I didn't think we were going to see anybody else put a 4 down. I mean, we saw, I don't remember who put it out in practice, but that is a blistering lap round. That is a blistering lap round. I don't know how people do it. I only get a 9 out of here.
I didn't get laps in. I was having trouble just getting around the racetrack, and it's a good thing these guys are driving and not me. I'll say that.
Yes, I can agree with you on that
one. Well, Paulo Godai, fastest so far in practice, or not practice, qualifying rather. Thomas Rayleigh was fastest in practice. Let's ride on board with Paulo a little bit here. This is into turn number 8. And this is the driver's eye POV that I love so much. You see the elevation changes, the car pitch down, pitch back up in the uphill. And then right here, you just don't know where to turn in for turn 10. This camera is a little bit elevated to my driving position, and I think a lot of these drivers' driving positions is a little bit higher up. That or the Acura just has really good visibility, I'm not sure.
I would not say they have the best visibility. I think actually the Mustang has the best visibility. I mean, I know the nose looks so long out there, but I personally think the Mustang has the best visibility out of all of them.
Yannick Steinhoff now quick here in qualifying. He goes second. Here's an opportunity for Paulo to go even faster though. Around the final corner and onto the front stretch. Can Paulo Godai go even faster than a 42.482? It's going to be a no, a 42.8. He will have to settle as Ismail Alahi will go fastest in Division 2. Jose Doleo in second in Division 2. And all these times are coming to a close.
Yeah, you know, and this is not really what drivers in Division 1 want to see. You know, Yannick Steinhoff going second. I mean, you don't want to see a newer driver doing that. That's just more competition you're putting on yourself. So for Yannick, you know, great showing right now for your first ever qualifying. I mean, second against these guys, that's really good. But for all the other drivers, you're looking at that and you're saying, oh no, that's another faster driver I have to race with.
A look here at Sean Patterson in qualifying. Alex DeMarco on track as well from Moradnis in that number 2 McLaren. Edgar Ruiz having some troubles this evening. He is struggling with the racetrack. He is down in 42nd overall, only quicker than Joshua Benjamin so far. And Ruiz is out of laps. He has run all 3, so he is going to have to settle with that 42nd starting position for now. And he could be dropped even lower. Here comes Chao Trin across the line. Chao looking for a 144.362 it looks like. And that's going to be good for 35th. That bumps Edgar down to 44th, Joshua Benjamin down to Edgar Ruiz to 43rd, Joshua Benjamin to 44th. And got to cover the fact that there are 4 drivers without a lap time so far. Nicholas Salapudis has run 4 laps, as has Billy Bowerman, neither of them able to set a lap time. Timothy Patterson, the only driver not to attempt a qualifying lap. Even Robert Guadagnoli tried, but it looks like he got off tracks on each of his laps, so he will not have a lap time in this qualifying session. Everybody is off the racetrack now, aside from Santiago Arena, who is
taking a stroll.
Yeah, taking a cruise here. I think just coasting.
It's a beautiful track to do that. This is nice. I like this. Maybe we should race like this. Be very easy to see everything going on.
Take a brisk walk around the racetrack. I see what you're up to there. But that'll do it for qualifying. Paulo Goddard fastest. He'll earn himself, I believe, a bonus point for getting the pole this evening. And we will take a full pace lap. You see the iRacing.com pace truck set up there on the front stretch. A pace truck. How about that? For Portugal, they shipped the Chevrolet on over. But let's take a look around the Lucky Performance starting grid this evening. Paulo Goddard on pole. He'll lead us to the green flag in that number 93, with Yannick Steinhoff starting from second. Starting third, you'll find Ignacio Casagnin, who led us to the green last week. Bruce De Carvalho in fourth. Starting fifth, it'll be none other than Scott Reister, reigning champion, alongside Adam Brockway in that Ford Mustang. Starting seventh, it's Thomas Rayleigh in a Porsche. Miguel Colon out there in car 87. He'll start from eighth. And starting ninth and 10th, Thorsten Ulrich. And how about Scott Kimbrough just making it into the top 10 this season?
Yes, and starting the 11th spot, we have Jake Browder, just barely missing in the top 10. And then starting in 12th, you have Kevin Gill. And then your first Division 2 driver, Ismail Ali, 13th for him. That is great. First Division 2 driver to go into the top 15, I think, all season as of right now. And then starting in 14th, we have David Schwartz. 15th, Lucas Souza. And then 16th, Ken Copeland. 17th, Sam Soyd. And 18th, you have Jose Doleo. And then 19th and 20th, you have Michael Brooks and Joshua Lyon.
Starting 21st in this 48-car field, Nathan Medina in car 6. Ryan Kerr, for his first foray this season, will start from 22nd. Starting 23rd, it's Mark D. Reynolds alongside Santiago Serena. Starting 25th spot, it'll be Bobby Flack alongside Dominic Turcotte. And back in 27th and 28th, how about a couple more Division 2 drivers? Mitch Buenaventura and Kevin Peake. And from here on, it should be all Division 2 with just a couple of exceptions. Craig Bray and Andy Ray Miller in row 15.
Yes, and starting 31st, you have Mike Braun. A little lower than what he probably wanted to start, but you can make your way back up from that. And then starting 32nd, you have Dean Kerr. In 33rd, Chris Winstone. 34th, you have Lucas Finko. And then 35th, you have Chow Trin. And then 36th, you have Jared Solomon. 37th, Sean Patterson. 38th, Philip Adurka. And starting in 39th and 40th, you have Alex DeMarco and Jeff Fleischman.
Starting 41st, Christian Britzko in the 91 alongside Scott Angelo back there in 42nd spot. Starting 43rd and 44th, Edgar Ruiz and Joshua Benjamin. I believe Edgar is the bottom Division 1 driver. Starting 45th, it'll be none other than the NARL Stewart. How about that? Starting from 46th, Billy Barrowman. Starting from 47th, Nicholas Salapudis. Timothy Patterson from 48th, and officially 49th, even though he'll start 48th, Robert Guadagnoli. These drivers work down into the first couple of corners as a cohesive here, and will be able to familiarize themselves with the racetrack once more before going green. This is a challenging racetrack. We've got to talk about the Whiplash Simcamp's race details. And it's a pretty simple one. 60-minute practice sessions, 10-minute qualifying session. Those are now over. A 60-minute sprint race. 6 setups, 55% fuel, 15 incident limit, with 5 incidents thereafter for every penalty. As was explained at VIR, basically, if you get 4 car contacts, that's going to be a penalty. Or you can kind of combine up to that number with off tracks or spins or what have you. That counts for 1 or 2x. And then 5 incidents, every 5 incidents thereafter is another penalty. So we could see some drive-throughs here at Portugal.
Yeah, as you were talking, it looked like Edgar Ruiz actually dropped due to upload packet loss, and it's just now connected, so he will be starting from the pits. So more pain to what he is facing right now.
That is unfortunate for sure. Now, throughout the course of this broadcast, we'll talk about a couple of things, including the NARL Driver of the Day, That'll be a vote on YouTube situation where we nominate 4 drivers total, 2 from each class. We'll each pick 1 driver from each class, and that'll be our total of 4. And we'll nominate them for a fan vote in the YouTube comment section. So if you're watching on YouTube, keep an eye out for that later in this race, somewhere around halfway or so. And then we'll also talk about today's Lucky Performance Lucky Break of the Day. And that is an award basically handed out to the luckiest moment that we see on the racetrack. It could be missing a crash, it could be getting a good pit stop, it could be saving the race car, anything like that. Anything like that can qualify for the Lucky Performance Lucky Break of the Day. And we'll talk about each of these things. Keep an eye out for them throughout the course of the broadcast. The field works into turn 14 here at the top end of the circuit. They'll work around the final corner now and get ready to go racing as a full collective. There you see the full field getting ready. This is a 60-minute race, a long time, a full hour here at Portugal. These drivers have to try and come to grips with the racing circuit. It'll be a fun one here for sure. Grab your popcorn, grab your drinks, get set. This is going to be fun. Out of the final corner, the iRacing.com safety truck will make its way down to the safety, relative safety, that is, of pit lane. And here we go. Down the front stretch, we are green flag racing in Portugal. Three wide, that's rarely going to work. Adam Brockway gets shifted out. He's going to fall back down to 6th spot. That was really close. I'm glad they made that work.
Yeah, I can't believe they got through there 3 wide. I thought that all of them were about to be toast there. You know, that's a really tight section of the track. But they managed to do it, and I give them props for it.
Oh, a big block there. I think that was Thorsten Ulrich making a block on Jake Browder.
Oh.
A little bit of contact, some dives here to turn 5.
And I swear last week Thomas Rayleigh had rear end damage, and it looks like his Porsche has rear end damage again. And big send there by Thorsten Ulrich. Big send. That's a corner that. Oh, they're getting really close there. Oh.
Thorsten with some big lap 1 moves. Remember, lap 1 does pay bigger penalties if you cause an incident. That could be a little bit scary, but the whole field making it around the racetrack so far, I don't see anybody slow. This is good stuff. A really solid start to the race.
Ooh, we're almost going 3 wide into turn 14. Oh, spin! Oh, Samsoid spun around turn 14. Oh,
he'll get back going as Ferrari gets righted, and he will continue on just down in the 33rd spot. So everybody continues on. The first lap complete here at Portimao.
Yeah, that sucks for Samsoid. I saw him and Jose De Leo get into it there. De Leo just saying just a little too deep going to turn 14, and that's what sent him around there. But we keep racing.
Now these 3, they might have the makings to be the big 3 here in the series. You've got one car slow. It's 17 of Scott Kimbrough. He gets on now. Kevin Gill involved as well. I heard you kind of reacting to it there. Kevin Gill will get back going.
That hairpin into 3 was a 2-car collection. I don't know who started it, but I just saw 2 cars spinning around into turn 3. Wow, this is a lot of action. I don't even know where to look at right now.
This is deep in the field. Mitch Buenaventura down in 7th spot. He's coming off the win at VIR a week ago. Of course, he won in Class of Division 2. Would like to repeat here, but here comes Andy Ray Miller on the left side. A really cool shot here from the left side of that race car, and Miller will fall back. Buenaventura will hang on to that spot. Another battle further up the racetrack. Ken Copeland, David Schwartz, a couple of Mercedes drivers. And the look there from, was that Ryan Kerr? I think it was, looking on Jose De Leo. Would like to go by the Division 2 driver. De Leo sideways, that'll be the opportunity for Kerr to go by.
He will.
So Ryan Kerr makes it by Jose DeLeo. Now DeLeo defends over Joshua Lyon. And Jose is coming in.
Jake Browder was given a drive-through, and it looks like Jose DeLeo was given a drive-through, and also Scott Angelo was given a drive-through.
So all incidents, I believe, relating to lap 1.
Yes.
Oh, and Scott Angelo's got no front bumper on that race car.
I did not see that incident with him.
Let's watch here. To find the incident with Scott Angelo. It was recent. Relatively recent anyways. A longtime member of the Miranda's M Squad, Scott Angelo, also a longtime member of this league. Has been with us for a long time. He's racing right here behind Philip Bedurka. This is a replay. It's maybe here in turn 10 or 11, maybe?
I think it may be turn 13. I think he maybe got a little too late on the brakes and hit the rear end of the Bedurka.
Take a look here, and sure enough, sends it up the inside of the Move Over Racing 70. And they have it coming together there. And that's what shears that bumper off of the Miranda's M Squad car. He will now drop down to 47th overall, 24th in class. But you know who had an even worse result out of that is Phil Bedurka. He is down in dead last, 48th overall.
Yeah, he got put in a position there where he couldn't really get it back into the throttle because he had to let all the traffic go through without wrecking everybody. So a really tough situation to be put in there.
Up front, Paulo Godai leading the race over Yannick Steinhoff and Ignacio Casagnin. Bruce De Carvalho in 4th and Adam Brockway in 5th. This is the first race for the Ride Sim Sport driver of Yannick Steinhoff along with his teammate Thorsten Ulrich. It'll be exciting to see what they can do here in the series. Already, Yannick is looking really good. Second place in this race. We're only about 6 minutes in, though. A long ways to go at Portimao.
Yeah, I'm really impressed. Coming into a new league, you know, you don't really know. You kind of want to give everybody this little bit of room. You're a little bit more conservative, but Yannick is really just putting it out there right now. You know, he has cut down that gap to Paulo Godai just ever so slightly. I know Godai was about 8 tenths in front of him, but he's got it down to roughly about 2 to 3 tenths now. So don't flip your eyes off when Steinhoff is coming.
Riding on board with Yannick Steinhoff. Around turn 14 and coming back around the back end of the circuit. It takes a bit of a lift there just to keep the car underneath you, and then you come back around and stay wide open as you can onto the front stretch. And this is a long straightaway all the way from that turn 15, turn 1. Look at that camera shot and just how many cars come into frame up over the hill.
Yeah, I was talking about it earlier. It seems a lot shorter on picture, but when they actually drive it, it feels like it takes forever. And then you come and do the really hard braking of turn 1. You're like, whoa, where did this come from? But these drivers seem to be doing very well with it tonight.
Bit of a battle here in the middle of the top 10. Miguel Colon, Thorsten Ulrich, and Thomas Rayleigh. Now, Rayleigh's got to remember that big move from Thorsten earlier in the race, and I wonder if Thomas has a chance to put it up the inside, if he'll take it. At the same time, you can sit back here and try and save more fuel and pass him in the pit lane. I feel like that's always an insult to drivers. When you get past the pit lane, that's just always so frustrating. Do all the work on the racetrack and to lose the spot in the pits, just that absolutely sucks.
Yeah, it definitely hurts, but you also know that you are the faster driver. It honestly feels a little bit better sometimes when you do get past and then you pass them again because you're like, oh, I am faster on the track than them. So the insult to injury is definitely what you said. They passed you in the pit lane, but things happen in the pit lane. But things on the track, you can put your talking out into the track and pass them again.
On board here with Thomas Rayleigh chasing down Thorsten Ulrich, or at least trying to. Just a couple of cars back, you'll find Ismail Elahi leading down in Division 2 right now. He's got 4 Division 1 drivers right behind him. Ken Copeland, David Schwartz, Ryan Kerr, and Mark Reynolds. He is in a really solid spot. Ismail has been a lot of fun to watch these last couple of seasons. Division 2 last season and this season, but quickly on his way, I think, to Division 1. And, you know, the ultimate goal for the series is to have it all Division 1 drivers on top of all Division 2 drivers. That's what they want to split it right in the middle and have the fairest race possible. So as he has these strong runs, he could be in line for a mid-season promotion. We've seen it before. We could see it again. I would hate to do it to him because it would take away a really strong run potentially in the points. But he's looking really good so far.
Yeah, we were talking about earlier, like you said, he is a dark horse for going into the Division 1 promotion, but I mean, sitting 15th right now in Division 2 and racing, I'm pretty sure, first for Division 2. I mean, this is really good stuff for him. You know, sitting 15th in points, you want to get as much points as you can, and he is putting himself there. As of right now, looks like 5 positions ahead of the next Division 2 driver, which is Joshua Lyon. So he's looking really good here as we see a good, contact there.
Contact between the 73 and 6. That's Dominic Turcotte, the 73 Audi. And he's one of the only Audis, I think the only Audi in the field this season. Nathan Medina in the number 6 Porsche goes on by. Medina making the pass for 20th overall, 3rd in class as they battle down here in Division number 2.
Yeah, that was door-to-door banging contact with the pass. So really rough passing there, but sometimes that's what you got to do in these cars. Sometimes it's really hard to pass on this track, and you just got to use that door up just a little bit, but that was pretty rough contact between the two.
Back up towards the front, down the front stretch into turn number 1. Here we go. Paulo Godai, Yannick Steinhoff, Ignacio Castelin, Bruce De Carvalho, Adam Brockway. Going to keep reiterating that top 5. It has been the exact same since the drop of the green flag just about. Adam Brockway doing a fantastic job. He went for that 3-wide move on the outside into turn 1. It didn't work out for him. He was able to hang on to it, though. And slides back into the 5th spot. Scott Reister hangs out behind him in 6th. Oh, what a shot.
Beautiful. And, you know, I've been watching Steinhoff and Godai go at it here for a couple of laps. And what I've noticed off of Godai, it seems like he's pushing the corners a lot harder than Steinhoff. Steinhoff seems like he's more conservative on these tires right now, and Godai seems like he's using them and abusing them just a little bit more. So I think that's something we need to watch out for later on as tire degradation starts to come, and we might see Godai have used his tire, especially his rear tires, up a little too much, and we might see Steinhoff start to make the pass and Godai start to fall down the order.
Definitely something to keep our eyes on as this day goes on. Now, we saw what I thought was a relatively unexpected tire change from most of the field last week at VIR. I think we'll see a tire change here today. Based on that, if they're changing tires at Virginia International, they're going to be changing tires here at Algarve.
Oh, for sure. I think this track almost works the tires even worse than VIR. But we could be wrong. This track could be better on tire wear. But from what I've seen, we're definitely going to need new tire sets or new tires.
And for the most part, this is one of the closest fights on the racetrack. There's a couple of outliers. Joshua Benjamin, Jose DeLeo are real close. Here they are. Benjamin in that Corvette, DeLeo in that Mustang, Ford versus Chevy. A classic tale. So they fight down here for 41st. A little ways up, you got Alex DeMarco and Nicholas Salapudis. A couple of McLarens. Even further up, Dean Kerr, Chris Winstone, and some others. Here's a look at Chris Winstone. Now, this is going to be a public service announcement for the league. If you are in this league and you want your picture shown just like Chris Winstone's smiling face here, that can happen. Email me directly at andrew@pitstoptv.com with a picture of yourself. Or send a message on Discord as we watch a big send right ahead from Dean Kerr. Teammates right there. And that's going to open the door for Winstone to go right on through and split those two up.
I can't believe he was that aggressive on his teammate there. I mean, you would think they have a little bit of team orders, but it seemed like they were all racing out. But now we have a three-way battle for that position. So, I mean, they kind of messed themselves up there and let the Ferrari in there.
And that was Dean Kerr making a really big move in the 84 car. You see the team listing: Meritus M Squad, Oceana Coffee, Jeff Fleischman, a couple of cars up, same team. So I'm surprised by that move, but those two Mercedes have let the one Ferrari go through, and that was Chris Winstone right there from Indicio Racing. He's moving his way forward now into 33rd spot. Further up, Kevin Gill working on Samsoid. You called it out, lap 1, that incident in turn 14 for Samsoid. He has recovered to 26th overall, so he's up 7 spots for the spin. Still got a ways to go.
That's what you want to see from a driver. You know, a lot of times incidents put drivers in a deep hole and they get a little too aggressive. But it's looking right now, Samsoid stayed calm, cool, and collected, and is using that aggression to get himself back up to where he should be. I mean, he started 17th, he's 26th right now. Of course, that's not what you want to see for yourself as of right now. But you have to look at the bright side. You have made up 7 positions, if I'm correct. That's what you said?
Yeah, 7 spots from 33rd, so not a bad recovery so far.
No, you want to look at the bright side of things. I mean, just use that fuel. Make yourself not a weapon, but not even a target, but as a fast car on track. I almost said a weapon, but you don't want to be a weapon on the track.
That's Samsoid's situation as he rides in 26th. You got Kevin Peak right ahead, then Andy Ray Miller in 24th. Mitch Bonaventura rides ahead in 23rd. Scott Kimbrough works on Santiago Serena. This is deep in Division 1, 16th and 17th on the racetrack. Here's the onboard with Scott Kimbrough. And something we've talked about a lot in the BRB Racing League, and we're going to talk about it here a little bit today, is that sun, that lighting now, the new lighting model here on iRacing. It has become a very popular subject for us here at Pit Stop TV. It's changed the way the racetrack looks and has changed the way the sun looks. It's bright. It really, the HDR has gotten so much brighter, I feel like, and the sun has gotten to be so much more of a nuisance. Right here, you can see just how bright that sun is. But it's more realistic, Mason. It's definitely a step in the right direction. I think it might be a little bit too extreme in some cases, but it looks so good so far.
No, it's definitely a step in the right direction for iRacing. I praise them for it, but I will tell you, it is not very kind to you as we see. Oh, who is that? It looks like Kevin Peak passing by Andy Ray Miller, and Samsoid is now trying to get on the inside of Andy Ray Miller, going down here into turn 6. Andy Ray Miller will have the inside here going into turn 7. Will Samsoid stick with it? No. Maybe cut back? No. So Samsoid trying to, but Kevin Peak using his aggression on the brakes to get around Andy Ray Miller there.
Samsoid here ahead of Kevin Gill. Who defends that spot from Gill and Braun. And that is more or less the bottom of Division 1. The only other 2 drivers below that are Jake Browder and Edgar Ruiz. Jake runs in 39th, Edgar runs in 45th. These guys battle for 26th.
Samsoid is trying Andy Ray Miller. He's putting himself in a position where it might try to confuse Andy Ray Miller. He's trying to put himself as a duck. See if Andy Ray Miller will just go a little bit deeper into the corner, make him worry about his mirrors so that Samsoid can maybe take advantage of a mistake coming from Andy Ray Miller. Seen a lot. Happens a lot of road racing. Even oval racing.
Samsoid's still working on Andy Ray Miller. A bit of a battle further ahead. Whoa, hello, what is happening here? Hart sheared off of Miguel Colon's car. That's Thomas Rayleigh, Thorsten Ulrich, and Miguel Colon. We're going to have to get a replay of what just happened down there in turn 5.
Turn to them at the right time. That was sheer luck right there.
But skill.
Yeah.
This is a little ways back. This is the front stretch for these drivers. We'll get a look at what happens between them. Thorsten had been riding behind Miguel Colon for some time. Really, since the start of the race. Once he got by Thomas Rayleigh, he was behind Miguel Colon, and he's been there since then. And here we go. Down this straightaway to turn 5. What in the world happened between them?
I wonder if he sent it a little deep here.
Oh, Rayleigh.
Whoa.
Wow.
It almost worked.
That worked out for Thorsten.
What a send. Yeah, that's opened the door for Thorsten there. You know, he's put a pretty significant gap on Miguel Colon. So Thorsten has been unleashed, but that was a big send there by Thomas Rayleigh.
Big move from Rayleigh, and that backed up Miguel. He saw it coming, so he hit the brakes and parked it to try and get down and make the crossover. But Thorsten saw the opportunity and just kind of shoved his way through, and that shoved Miguel out into Thomas Rayleigh. But Rayleigh then off the racetrack, he collects a 1x for that, probably a 4x, I'd imagine, actually, for the car content. And then they just keep going like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, and you know, Miguel Colon got really lucky there. If you look at his nose, his right front diffuser is pushed up a little bit, but iRacing made that look a lot worse than what it actually was, because I thought that he was going to have absolutely no bumper, but he still has it on there. So lucky for him.
There is some damage here for Thorsten Ulrich, just on the nose of that race car. Miguel Colon, a little bit of damage, I think, on the right front. And Thomas Rayleigh has that rear end damage we were talking about earlier. That's about it for him. I don't see any left side damage.
Yeah, I think he escaped out of that pretty well. I mean, a little bit of cosmetic damage, but we shouldn't be seeing it affecting too much. Maybe Miguel Colon, especially with that right front lip being pushed up, but I don't think it's any race-ending problems.
So a bit of excitement there in the top 10. We can fall back to Lucas Souza, who is lapping. That is going to be Philip Madurka going a lap down. And this is something you don't have to do. I'm just going to call this out. You do not have to pull over like this and let cars go by. This is now creating a hazard. Where is he going to rejoin? This is why you do not slow down like that. There is now a hazard in turn 1. You cannot do this. You cannot just stop like this. Take the racing line, let cars work by you, because now you have no opening to get back going. And he's just got to take the tow. That's a big lesson.
Yep. Let the lappers work around you. I mean, that's one of the biggest things to learn. It's a learning moment for them. Let the lappers work around you, especially with multi-car class. You see a lot of those GTPs trying to get around the GT3 cars, and you see a lot of the GT3 cars moving erratically, and you don't know where they're going to go. So it's better off just staying in the racing lane. That is a place where the lappers will know you will be.
We continue on here, watching the race leaders. Paulo Godai, Yannick Steinhoff, Ignacio Gassignin, your top 3. And for Ignacio, this is a chance at redemption. Of course, had the issues a week ago and wants to make a big comeback this evening. That screen freeze completely erased a P1 run. So he's looking to try and get a win now somewhere this season. So far, it doesn't look like it's going to happen tonight. He's about a second and a half back of Paulo Godai, so there's always a chance. But that Lamborghini seems like it's just a tick behind the top 2. But he's looking for redemption, I think, just as a whole. He just wants to finish one of these races up front and get a bunch of points and get on out of here. And that's what he's doing so far.
No, yeah, P3 is definitely a great finish after the mistake he had last week. And he even came back up through the field, so I was super impressed by that. I thought that car was destroyed. But a P3 definitely shows his speed. But I think Godai and Steinhoff, it's going to be really hard to outclass those two, because as of right now, those two have been the class of the field. But if anything does happen, Ignacio will go straight through because he is right there. But you have to be keeping a look behind you. Bruce De Carvalho is right behind him. He has gained almost about 2-3 tenths a lap on Ignacio, so you can't keep looking away from him. He is on your bumper, but you have to keep looking forward and don't look too far back into your mirror.
The other goal for Ignacio now is to make last week his drop race. You don't want to have a result worse than that. You want to be able to make that your drop race for the season and just have building results from there and build on the season, have solid results, finish up front, and hopefully come out with the race win somewhere and come out with a championship lead. That's obviously the goal. We'll see how close he gets to that. The way he started out last week with the pole, leading laps so early and dominating that first opening portion of the race was so impressive. I think it would be a shame not to see him win a race this season.
I definitely think he'll get his race win this season. But, you know, talking about for Ken Copeland, you know, you have that feeling on your back. You want to keep the championship lead. You know, that's a good feeling. We see that Bruce De Carvalho gets really close there to Ignacio. He's going to try to go to the inside here. Ignacio's going to have none of it. None of it. Let's see if he can go on the outside here. He might try to do a cutback. Ignacio might park it. Carvalho going to try going back down the inside. Oh, he spins!
No! Ignacio Castagnine around again. This time out of turn 5. He's only lost a couple of spots so far. He was 3rd. He's now 6th. Here goes Thorsten. That'll make him 7th. It's not too bad. It's not too bad overall, all things considered. Only down to 7th spot. He's got a chance to move back up into the top 5. It's not the podium he was looking at, but a top 5 wouldn't be bad if he can get back up there to Thorsten and then Scott. He's got a chance still. And now, as soon as we take a look at Thorsten going by one car, we've got Yannick trying to go by another. So that Ride SimSport team, they are here to mean business. Yannick all of a sudden working over Paulo Godai for the race lead.
Yeah, I'm super impressed with their team. You know, coming as a new team, I mean, you wouldn't expect them to be as fast as they are, but they are showing that they have the speed and they are very stable while they're racing. I've been watching both of them cut through the field, cut through these laps, and they are probably the most stable cars on the track right now. I don't know if it's just the McLaren, but I've just noticed that he's going to try to send a little dummy there. Does not work on Godai, but he is there. As Godai, you've got to keep looking in front of you. Of course, look in your mirror, but don't let it hurt your laps. Because all you're going to do is just let 3rd right now catch up to you.
We're going out of turn 5. We've seen so many moves being made here, including that spin a lap ago. And problems, Kevin Gill. Maybe not problems, but he's into the pit lane awfully early. About a lap or 2 early, and we're going to see other takers. So this must be within their fuel range. Sean Patterson comes in. Gill and Patterson going to pit amongst the first. They are the first to pit. We've got a battle here between Nathan Medina and Dominic Turcotte.
These two have been racing hard for, I think, the entirety of the race. It's been back and forth, door banging, as we saw actually in this corner right here. We saw Medina door bang to get past Turcotte. So these two drivers are really racing hard here, but you got to be careful. You know, you got Bobby Flack and Mitch Buenaventura now starting to catch up to these two. So we could have a 4-way battle going for the 20th spot.
They all get real close there at turns 10 and 11. They spread back out for turn 12. Nathan Medina has the spot in 20th. And now we got to watch our leaders for when they pit. This is pit window time. It was early for those first 2 drivers, Patterson and Gill. But at this point, the pit window is open. If they're pitting, that means anybody else can pit. Come in, get their service done, and go back on the racetrack. So you got to watch for it. Between our leaders, we're seeing pit stops now. Scott Kimbrough, Mark Reynolds. Actually, it's Mark Reynolds and Ryan Kerr is in. I see Michael Brooks is in. Ken Copeland is in. a handful of drivers all pitting.
Oh, and Dominic Turcotte is in too. Oh, we got even more takers now that we're talking about it.
Andy Ray Miller back there. I believe Kevin Peak. A whole lot of drivers pitting here very early. Jake Browder. I say very early. I don't mean to say that. I don't know why I'm saying that. It's not that early. It's just a tick before halfway. They will get their pit stops done and dusted and head back on the racetrack.
I totally agree with you, Andrew. It feels super early, but I mean, they've done the practice compared to us, so maybe they know it better than, I mean, they obviously know it better than us, but I think as of right now, as we're watching them, I think Steinhoff has a little bit more pace on track. I hate to say that, but I feel like he's a little bit more smoother than Godai. I think Godai is causing that wake to air, and it's kind of hurting Steinhoff through the corners. So I think Steinhoff might have a little bit more of speed, as we're going to see Godai go into the pits here. So your leader is now going to the pits, and that's going to release Steinhoff to the lead.
Alex Steinhoff, now your race leader, the Ride Sim Sport driver leading his first laps here in the North American Racing League. One of the few Europeans. We had, of course, Stamsoid from the UK and Ireland. We've now got Yannick and Thorsten, each from Germany, taking part in this series. So we're used to a lot of drivers out of the Americas, even some from across in Asia. But this is new for us to have a German team like this bringing the competition to this series. But it's good to have them. It's a welcome addition for sure as pit stops get fully underway here. Paulo Godai and so many others in on this lap. There's Godai, Ignacio Castagnin is in. I see Bruce De Carvalho, Scott Reister. I see Santiago Serena is in. Adam Brockway, Thorsten Ulrich, Bobby Flack, Mitch Buenaventura. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Yeah, this is definitely the moment I think that we're going to start seeing everybody coming in. I'm expecting Steinhoff to most likely come in this lap, if not next lap. But, I mean, you're going to see a lot of these drivers racing as hard as they can off the pit lane. This is a time and moment for them to get these spots. You know, everybody's stacked together. Why not go for it? But I think we're going to see Steinhoff coming here because he's got lap traffic now. This is your moment. I would go in now because you don't want these lap cars affecting your race right now.
We expect Yannick Steinhoff to make the pit stop here, and he will keep the wheel turned to the right and make his way into the pit lane. There he goes.
I'm expecting a 4-tire stop and full fuel.
That's what it looks like across the board. 22 seconds or so for everybody. That's pouring fuel, I believe.
And, never mind. I was about to say Miguel Colon passed Paulo Godai, but I actually lied to you. He's actually just now getting into the pits. I thought that we saw a big change there, but I lied to you. I'm sorry.
Got Kimbrough's in. We see one Porsche back there. I believe it's going to be Chow Tran or a teammate maybe. Mike Braun is coming in.
Here comes Godai down the front stretch. Will Steinhoff. Steinhoff is coming out right now. Will Steinhoff overtake him?
There's Steinhoff.
I think he's going to get him by a good margin, too.
Yeah, Steinhoff saved fuel. Look, that's the wrong graphic. Here's the right graphic. 20.83 seconds in the pit lane. That is a big change compared to Paulo Godai's 22.3. So a second and a half saved in the pits. And that's because Godai couldn't do any saving. He was leading the race.
Yeah, that's a big move there for Steinhoff. I mean, the driver that you are fighting for the lead is now behind you. That's what you want to see as we see a car stopped here out of into turn 5. What happens? Oh, he calls a night.
And for Benjamin, he pulls off here and just brings it to a rest.
Interesting.
I have to imagine something was going on in the real world there, maybe that required him to get up from the sim. That's what that looks like to me.
Yeah, you gotta hate it though. He was running really good for this class. I mean, sitting 24th. at the moment, that would have put him, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, that's the class position.
Oh. Oh, okay, never mind then. I'm sorry.
Yannick Steinhoff now leading here at Portimao. You see 2 seconds back as Paulo Godai. Bruce De Carvalho in 3rd. Adam Brockway now 4th. Scott Reister 5th. And Ignacio Castagnin fell even further in the pit stops. He apparently did no fuel saving because he had to take one of the longest pit stops I've seen all season so far. Granted, the season's only 2 races old, but this is still a long stop. A 24.78 is longer than just about any stop I see.
Yeah, and it's kind of all falling apart there. You know, he was sitting 3rd, but I hate to see it. You know, he was running so smooth. Started 3rd, now is 9th. I mean, that's not something you want to see from a driver that was putting a lot of good laps down. But, I mean, that's kind of how it rolls, as we see. If we go up to Bruce De Carvalho, he's actually catching up to Godai, is now within almost 5/10 of each other. And Carvalho is bringing it to him right now.
So Carvalho on the move as we got a side-by-side battle between Nathan Medina and Bobby Flack. This is down to turn 5. Flack will make the pass. Medina falls down to 19th overall. Flack moves up. As we've got a slow car here, Christian Gritzko, and he is dropping out of the session.
Oh. That was a scary spot to stop, especially through that blind corner.
You know what we haven't talked about yet is there's a spin. Lucas Finko around from the wrong stuff. He brings it to a stop there right in front of Craig Bray. Brilliant job from Craig Bray missing that. Well, that's a perfect segue because I was just about to talk about the lucky performance, lucky break of the day, and that might be one of the nominations so far. Craig Bray coming around that corner was committed already and was able to make a heads-up move to go around the spinning Lucas Finko. That is not easy to do. But my nomination before that was going to be this guy, 87 Miguel Colon, because when we saw that contact down in turn 5 a while ago, he easily would have lost the nose of that race car. It actually popped off initially. The iRacing sim rendered that damage as being rather fatal to the nose of the car. As there's a move here from Thomas Rayleigh. Rayleigh goes over the curbing. But that damage re-rendered itself, and the nose is back on that number 87, and he continues on. I'm going to call that today's lucky performance lucky break of the day. That just seems like, to me, that you're in the top 10, battling for position. You almost lose your front bumper, splitter, and all that, but it re-renders back on the race car, and that's lucky.
I would totally agree with you on that. I actually don't have one right now because I was going to say... Samsoy. I was going to say Samsoy. You know, that spin could have totally taken him out of the race, but I'm actually going to nominate him for driver of the day. So I'm going to save him from lucky break of the day. I'm going to, as of right now, I'm going to say that he's one of my driver of the days right now.
Well, let's go ahead and do that. Then we'll go through our full lineup of the NARL driver of the day vote. So let me tab back over to YouTube. Enter that in. So you've got your one nomination made of David Samsoy for Division 1. How about your Division 2 nomination?
Ismail. He's leading Division 2 right now. We didn't see the speed last week, I don't believe. I mean, he's sitting, as of right now, in Division 2. It looks like he's sitting 15th in points. This is a night you need to have in order to not only get looked at for going for promotion, but also for the points of Division 2. I mean, this is a great night for him.
A solid pick there for sure. Ismail Alahi was very deserving. I'm going to say Bruce De Carvalho in Division 1, and here's why. He was down the order in practice, 15th or so, something like that in practice. You're in a sim, you can tell me. He was not that great in practice. Comes out in qualifying, qualifies up front, let's see where he started. Started 4th. So comes back from a poor practice effort, qualifies 4th, and suddenly has all this speed and race trim. We were talking about him, teammate to Thomas Rayleigh. Rayleigh had all the speed. Rayleigh had all the speed in practice, and then something clicked for this driver. Bruce De Carvalho is my Division 1 Driver of the Day nomination. Let me add him.
That's a great pick. Oh, I didn't even think about that. No, that's a good pick. Shoot.
And you took my pick in Division 2, so I will just take the layup and go for Joshua Lyon, who runs 2nd quick in that class right now, down in 16th. He has put together a pretty solid day so far, from 20th up to 16th, just keeping his nose clean. He's got a decent spot in the points. This is the making of a battle for a championship in that class. So I'm going to pick Joshua Lyon.
Also a great pick. Wow, you are so too good at this.
Doing it for a while, Mason. Doing it for a while.
You got me itching my head. That Division 1 pick, I didn't even think about it.
We'll lock those drivers in. So your options for driver of the day include Sam Soyd in the number 7. How about Joshua Lyon in the 24? How about the 77, rather, of Bruce De Carvalho? Or the 025 of Ismail Alahi? Options for you as this race goes on. And Bruce could be going for 2nd place here shortly. He's racing with Paulo Godai. He very well could be talking to us at the end of the day.
Yeah, and as we were talking earlier, he actually set the fastest lap of the race now. So there's a lot of speed in that Porsche 77 right now, and he is getting ever so closer to Godai. You know, Godai was the car to beat, but it's looking like after that pit stop, he's like struggling a little bit. But it seems like a lot of these drivers are starting to take advantage of that, and especially with Steinhoff. Steinhoff has pushed himself out to over a 2-second lead. So.
And there's a question out on the YouTube chat, why not Steinhoff? Well, for me, it's kind of simple. We don't want to always pick the guy leading. That makes it too easy. Steinhoff has all the makings of likely being up here and battling for driver of the day in later rounds. I'm going to go out of the box and pick somebody that I feel like deserves it in their progression from practice through qualifying in the race. I can't speak for you, Mason, but at least for me, that's what does it for Bruce De Carvalho. He was just down the order in practice. Steinhoff looked good in practice. So for Carvalho to be battling for a podium spot, potentially an interview spot here, that is meaningful to me. Steinhoff has been looking good all day, as Miguel Colon's got problems.
Oh, no.
He's back in the pit lane here.
That is your tied leader for Division 1 in the championship right now, so that's not what you want to see.
And quite frankly, Steinhoff was 2nd, I think, in my vote for driver of the day. Like in my head, he was 2nd on my list. If not for Bruce De Carvalho, I would have nominated Yannick Steinhoff. I thought about it. I think he'll likely have a chance this season. We try to mix it up, give driver of the day around a little bit to different stories and not just the race leader. So that's at least my reasoning there. I don't know if you want to chime in on it, Mason, but if we could nominate more than 4 drivers, we would. Unfortunately, YouTube kind of limits us. We can only do 4 options on a poll, so it makes it kind of limited.
Yeah, I picked Sam Soy for Division 1, obviously for the fact that he got spun, and went all the way to almost dead last, and is now sitting, as of right now, in 21st, and is almost back to his original starting point. So, I mean, you have to look at those moments and be like, okay, this is what we're seeing right now. This is what looks really good right now. And for my Division 2, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. The progression. I mean, Ismail had a really rough VIR, and to see him come out here and lead Division 2, that's what you want to see in progression of a driver.
Back to the racing here. Scott Kimbrough works on Ryan Kerr. This is for 12th on the racetrack. Kimbrough looks to the inside there at turn 3. No opportunity yet. Might look for turn 5 here. If he gets a decent run through turn 4, might be an opportunity that looks like he could make a dive if he wanted to, but he's a little too far back.
Ooh.
He's going to look. Looks at the apex, but doesn't make the dive.
Yeah, and that dive was a good idea. It sends a dummy. I mean, I've been talking about this all night. This is the track where you have to send those dummies. But you have to also look behind you. I know all night, too, I've also said don't look behind you. But when you see Mark D. Reynolds, I mean, he has made his way even... Whoa! Wow. Scrap what I was talking about. That was almost a spin for Turcotte there.
Yeah, Mitch Bonaventura right to the back bumper of Dominic Turcotte there in turn 5. Thankfully, no crazy contact. Might have been a little bump there, but that's okay. But Bonaventura, who was victorious a week ago at VIR, 5th place so far in Division 2 in this race. Not bad. Maybe a little bit behind where he needs to be if he wants to hang on to the championship lead. But not bad. This is a solid effort. And we don't know how he's going to be at Homestead and such. You know, we can talk about that. We haven't talked about it yet this evening, the schedule for this season. We go to Miami next, Homestead Miami Speedway, where NASCAR is this weekend. That is going to be a very, very interesting round, being on that Roval configuration. The road course at Miami, it takes on the infield road course. You kind of duck in right at the end of pit road for turn 1, and then head through the infield around the lake, and back up onto the backstretch of the NASCAR Turn 2, and then the configuration that we're running next week, Mason, we're on the oval in NASCAR Turns 3 and 4. So we're going to have a big, wide open section from NASCAR 2 all the way around to NASCAR 1, and then the infield section. It's going to be a wild round. I'm very much looking forward to it. A lot of straight line racing. It's going to be a matter of what car can be fastest in a straight line, I think.
Yeah, I love that track for itself. It's almost, I know you might not like this, but I feel like it's a smaller Daytona. You have your moments where you go onto the oval, then you have your moments where you're in the infield. So I feel like it's a smaller Daytona, but it's also a super fast track, and I don't think it gets enough credit for how good of a track it is for road.
It'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Miami next week, then Le Mans for round 4, Detroit, Monza, Atlanta, Daytona. A lot of opportunities for these drivers to progress over the course of the season, and we don't know who's going to be good where. It's going to be a mix, I think. And Monza, that's worth talking about as well. When we go to Monza here later this season, that is going to be the combined layout. So the Monza Grand Prix course, along with the old traditional oval, that is going to be a crazy round for round number 6.
I didn't know it was the old oval. That's a fast, bumpy oval. So we might see a lot of cars get really upset on that oval.
We've done it before in Porsche Cup, I believe, and we're doing it again this season, though, in GT3 with all the car differences. That should be a lot of fun. We've got 3 racetracks, Miami, Daytona, and Monza, that I feel like are all going to be well suited to whatever car can go in a straight line the fastest. We'll watch out for that this season. We've got Ryan Kerr and Scott Kimbrough, a battle here to turn 5. Kimbrough up the inside of Kerr, and Kimbrough has got the spot.
Yeah, that was a beautiful send down into 5. That's how you got to do it. You got to send those beautiful sends into turn 5. I mean, that's a really good passing point there, but it also can cause a lot of dangerous driving, because we've seen it earlier. We've seen a lot of guys stand a little too deep, and then the person you're passing turn in. So very, very expertise there by Scott Kimbrough.
Just looking through the field at some of these battles, Jose De Leo works on Jeff Fleischman. A couple of Division 2 drivers down here. De Leo was second earlier in this race, had that penalty. Boy, he started 18th. This is the opposite of a driver of the day run. He has had a bad day. It started so good, though. Was good in practice, good in qualifying. Even started the race out well, but had some kind of incident there on lap 1 that he got penalized for, and has not been able to recover. It's so difficult to do so with no safety cars here. It's almost impossible. Once you get that penalty, you have to do that drive-through. Almost impossible to make a comeback.
Yeah, especially this track. It's a really rough track to have to make your way back up to the field. I mean, we've only really seen one driver do it, and that's Samsoid. But I mean, once you get those penalties, it feels like it's the end of the world. I mean, you have such a long time driving through the pit lane. You see the field going away from you. All that time you've gained in that position you've gained in qualifying is gone. So it really hurts your like mentality of wanting to be on the track. So good for him for staying in it. But I've been there and I know how hard it feels to be struck with a penalty.
Watching on here, one slow car there at turn 13. That is going to be the 46 of Robert Guadagnoli. He's got a lot of left side damage. I wonder if he's been in a barrier somewhere.
It's looking like it. That's fresh for sure.
Here we go. This is up to turn 8, I believe. And he just goes off the racetrack. Boom. You know, through 2 races, we have seen very small incidents so far. This season has been super clean. 2 really good racetracks where incidents are very possible, but these guys have kept it very clean. This is one of the few replays we've taken this season, and this is just a small one.
Yeah, and you know, we saw when we cut to him, we saw the people fighting for second. Right now, this battle is going as Carvalho sends it down the inside into turn 5 on Godai. Trying to get the move, though. Godai gets the better run out of there. It looks like he's going to have it through turn 7, but he's still there. Carvalho is still there. Oh, big close. These two are battling it out for second here. You know, we're seeing Steinhoff just roll away with these two battling so hard. But I've been watching this one, and Carvalho has been trying his hardest. He has been on Godai's bumper, so good on Godai for keeping his head in. But it's only so long that you can hold a driver behind until they find out your weakness.
You know, inside of 10 minutes to go, I wonder if Paulo Godai is saving fuel.
He could.
Of course, he was leading that entire first stint, so he couldn't do any fuel saving. Now he's got no cars ahead of him to save here. And with all these guys taking, I mean, he took the same amount of fuel on the pit lane as other drivers that have been saving. So I wonder if he's trying to save fuel this run to make up for the difference, which would put him in a really interesting spot. That'd be why he's backing up to Carvalho and why they're losing time to the race leader of Steinhoff.
I've noticed a lot coming out of turn 1 and then going to turn 2. He's been eating up that curb. So it seems like a lot of it's self-inflicted, but I think you could be totally correct, as I think we're going to see Carvalho try it again here. Oh, he's going to block it there. That's a good move by Godai there, but will Carvalho do a cutback? Will he place it there? Oh, like a concrete block, but Carvalho is going to try it again. Godai will have the corner out, and I think Carvalho's going to go another lap.
Lead up to turn 8. Carvalho has to wait. Turn 5 might be the best passing opportunity on this racetrack, so you'll likely see that move be made there again. It's the tightest hairpin.
It's such a hard braking point that you can send it just a little bit deeper, but you have to be careful. I'm bringing this up again. You can cause incident there. I mean, we've seen it here multiple times tonight. You can cause an incident there if you're not too careful, but I like how clean these two drivers are racing, giving each other room, not beating the doors. They're just hard racing for second right now.
Switch for position down deep in the field. I say deep in the field, deep in the top 10 anyways, as Ismail Elahi will move into the overall top 10. He goes by David Schwartz. That's good for 10th spot, moves Schwartz down to 11th. No change in class, but this is going to be a ton of points now that Ismail walks away with. And we go back to the standings coming into tonight for the AM division. The Division 2 division. Division 2 division, that's... Anyways.
You got it.
Ismail down to 15th. There we go. He is gonna need this. Racing with Joshua Lyon, he's exactly 10 points back of Lyon, about 5 spots ahead on the racetrack. So he should cut halfway into that gap to Lyon. And Lyon is well ahead of everybody else in class. I think Lyon and Buenaventura are going to be close together when they leave here. And I think Medina might even have the points lead when they're done. Just kind of where they're running, because Medina runs 19th. So he's going to get about 4 points over Buenaventura. So he should make that pass. Buenaventura is about 7 or 8 or so behind Lyon, so they're going to come out around each other. I really think Medina might have the points lead out of tonight, and Buenaventura and Lyon are going to be close, and then Elahi here is going to cut in about halfway to that battle, about halfway to that deficit. And that is going to be huge for Ismail.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a good points haul for him. I'm going to guess. I'm going to put a good guess out here. I think after this week, if he finishes where he's at and doesn't gain any more or lose any more positions, and we'll say everybody else stays where they're at, I'm going to put him in 4th after this week. That's where I'm putting him. That's just a guess. But
we shall see.
I am actually looking at the driver page right now, and we were talking about Ken Copeland, and as of right now, he is in 9th as we see a big move there.
Ooh, contact right at the apex. Godai gets back going, but Carvalho got right to the bumper of Paulo Godai there at turn 5.
These two are racing hard for this position. I mean, we only have 5 minutes left in the race. It's all go right now, especially since these guys are running about 1 minute 42 laps. So I'm assuming that we have about 3 more laps left in this race. That's what I'm going to put at max right now. But back to what I was saying, we're talking about Ken Copeland. I mean, he started 16th and is now 9th. We were talking about him earlier that this is going to be a rough night for him, especially since he was so far back. But, I mean, he's bringing it back. I mean, this is a drive that you want to see out of these drivers who are trying to go for a championship. I mean, this is grit right here, and I like to see it.
Yeah, Copeland is a sleeper pick, I think, for driver of the day. Could have been 16th up to 9th. That's a solid movement through the field. And has been as low as 27th. That could have been through the pit stops, but regardless, come back from the starting spot he had in the poor practice effort. That is a solid position for Ken Copeland this time, 9th place. As we got a move here maybe to turn 1. Bruce de Carvalho on the back end of Paulo Godai, continuing to look for a way by. He is hounding that 93.
Yeah, I think we're going to see another move here into turn 5. Godai's got to block it good here, though, into turn 5. Godai's done a really good job at blocking that inside.
This is a big run.
He's going to be right there. Kind of stalled out there for him. Carvalho's got to send it deep here and try to cut it back. Will he do that? Oh, he's going to try to go around the outside. Oh, it doesn't work. He's getting so close, but it's just not there right now.
An opportunity maybe at turn 8? No, not yet. Just the inside curving there. No opportunity there. Turn 5 is the best place to pass, and we're seeing that in this battle. There's really not much of another opportunity. When you're this close in pace, you can't really pass anywhere else. When you're more diverse in pace, and there's a bigger pace gap, you can make passes elsewhere on the racetrack. When you're this close between these two, it's got to be turn 5.
Yeah, I was looking at almost turn 10. I feel like it looks like Carvalho's got a lot better run through turn 10, so if he does manage to get a good turn 8 and goes through turn 9 without any problems of weight, I think we could see him go through a big send there. But cutting it down to only about 2.5 minutes left in this race, I mean, if you're Carvalho here, you've got to put it out there. I mean, these are points on the line. This is also a spot for an interview. So I know a lot of these guys want to talk to us. I mean, who wouldn't? But, I mean, he's got to put it on the line here.
Carvalho stays in behind. Now, last week, these two drivers would have been fighting for the win, but this week, you've got the number 5 of Yannick Steinhoff who has joined this series and has completely taken this series by storm, grabbing it by the reins, and Yannick has got a race win in sight now, as Paulo Gaday is going to have to defend here down to turn 5. Not close enough this time for a move, so Carvalho stays in behind. He's going to have, I think, one more opportunity. This is lap 34 of an expected 35. He's going to have one more shot at it.
Yeah, and I was watching Carvalho. It seems like his tires are getting hot. His rear end is really kicking out here. So, I mean, he could be taking a lap right now, trying to get him cooled off. But I mean, you can't be losing this much time. I mean, you got to stay within that 5/10 mark, because Gaday is going to look at that and see a weakness and say, okay, this is go time. Let's go now, because he knows that the driver behind him is struggling on tire wear.
And they are clutching up. They are making up about a second on Steinhoff. They have really closed into Steinhoff this last lap. It was 4 seconds between Steinhoff and these guys. It's now Santiago Serena. It's around at turn 4. This is a very, very tricky spot on the racetrack. Yannick Steinhoff is going to come around this time and take the white flag, I believe. Santiago Serena just gets back going. And here's Steinhoff. A 3-second lead. And he will take the white flag, brought to you by Whiplash Simcams, one more time around. Paulo Gaday and Bruce De Carvalho, they continue to fight for second.
This is one more chance for Bruce De Carvalho to do it in turn 5, big on in turn 3. Have a good turn 4 here. Have a good turn 4.
He's been so good through turn 4 so far tonight, but he's just too far back. He's not close enough for a move here to turn 5. Will he try to make a move anyways? The answer is no. Gaday goes a little defensive. Carvalho just not close enough here. And there you see officially the white flag, brought to you by Whiplash Simcams.
I wonder if Steinhoff's like saving a lot of fuel right now, because they're gaining a lot of time on him right now.
He might have been expecting a 34-lap race. He might be just shy on fuel and trying to save it to the end. Joshua Lyon is slow. He's picking back up. He is second in Division 2. He just lost a lot of spots. It's going to help Ismail Elahi in the points. And Samsoid is down the pit lane. So last-minute pit stops. Samsoid, and it looks like Santiago Serena back there. Can Yannick get back around? I think so. 2 seconds the gap between Yannick and Paulo. And Yannick Steinhoff is going to open up his North American Racing League career with a win at Portugal.
That is amazing for a first-time driver for the league. You know, that's something you want to see, as we see Gaday also finish second in Division 1. And that's a good result for him. I mean, that's a result that they all needed. But Steinhoff, a new competitor here for the North American Racing League.
And Ismail Elahi is going to come around and take the division win in Division number 2. You see the flashing lights just over Scott Kimbrough. Not only is it a Division 2 win, it's an overall top 10. That is a big day for a Division 2 driver.
Yeah, that's something you want to see, especially the top 10 is monumental. I mean, I was thinking about it. That's a promotion drive right there, if I've ever seen one. I mean, you're showing that you can race in Division 1. I mean, you have the speed, but I don't want to put those words in his mouth because of the fact that he obviously doesn't want to go for Division 1. He wants to win the Division 2 championship.
Slow car, Craig Bray. Problems here on the final lap. We've got to take a replay and see what just happened. I think he just ran out of gas.
Oh, no.
He just pulls over and tows. Other cars going by. Nicholas Salapudas will come around and take the checkered flag. Chow Trin. And then some lap down cars as Santiago Serena will come around. And Samsoid finishes 28th with that last lap pit, by the way. Santiago finishes 33rd. And that will just about do it for this field. 48 cars in all. An exhilarating hour here at Portugal, and it all comes to a close with Yannick Steinhoff out front with the race win. Incredible stuff for Yannick and that number 5 crew. Let's take a look at the unofficial race results when it's all said and done here. Of course, Yannick Steinhoff with the win. Paulo Gaday second. Bruce De Carvalho third. Adam Brockway fourth. Scott Reister fifth. So on and so forth through Thomas Rayleigh, Thorsten Ulrich. And wow, we missed that battle. That must have happened in the pit lane. Thomas Rayleigh able to pass Thorsten Ulrich back. That is huge. Ignacio Castagnin finishes back in 8th. Decent recovery drive there. Ken Copeland 9th. And then Ismail Elahi finishes 10th place.
Yeah, and then going to 11th, just outside of the top 10, you have Scott Kimbrough. 12th, you have David Schwartz. In 13th, you have Mark D. Reynolds. 14th, Ryan Kerr. In 15th, you have Kevin Gill. In 16th, you have your second place for Division 2, Joshua Lyon. And in 17th, you have Nathan Medina. 18th, Bobby Flack. 19th, Dominic Turcott. And in 20th, Mitch Buenaventura.
Finishing 21st is Kevin Peak in car number 101. He finishes, let's see, Peak finishes 6th in Division 2. Lucas Souza there in 22nd overall. Mike Braun 23rd overall. Then Lucas Finco, Miguel Colon, your top 25. Colon, that is such an unfortunate day for him. Not sure why he had to come back in. Likely fuel, but ends up finishing down in 25th spot, just ahead of Andy Ray Miller and Jared Solomon. Sam Soyd down in 28th. Also a late pit stop there. Jeff Fleischman, Nicholas Salapudis, your top 30.
Yes, and then going to 31st, you have Chao Trin. And then 32nd, you have Edgar Ruiz. 33rd, Santiago Sardina. 34th, Craig Bray. 35th, Alex DeMarco. 36th is Chris Winstone. 37th is Jose DeLeo. 38th, Scott Angelo. 39th, Dean Kerr. And 40th, Robert Guadagnoli.
And finishing down in 41st position, you'll find Sean Patterson, just ahead of Billy Bowerman. These guys laps down, 7 laps down for Patterson, 9 laps down for Bowerman, 11 laps down for Browder. Early exits for these drivers: Christian Gritsko in 44th, then Joshua Benjamin 45th, Michael Brooks in 46th, and finally Phil Bedurka and Timothy Patterson. There we go. Your 48 car field. While we await your Division 1 drivers, let's talk with your Division 2 race winner and driver of the day. Ismail Elahi is coming to you, Mason.
Yes, and I am now here with Ismail. You know, you just won driver of the day, and you just won your first race here in Division 2. I want you to take me through, how do you go from VIR and prepare for that to a little harder track than Portugal, and now you're feeling that you just won. So how is that feeling right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I think at VIR I also had the pace. It was just an unfortunate incident. And yeah, today I felt like I had more pace. Definitely could have gotten higher in terms of the D1 standings, but it's not really my fight. I didn't want to, put other guys in jeopardy when I'm not really fighting them for position. But the more pace was definitely there, but just to bounce back, it felt good. And after VIR, I think this result was pretty important to get.
Yes, then a very big points haul there for you. And I have another question. How important tonight was your fuel and tire management? I was trying to talk about how the tires were degrading, and I want to get a step from you, especially since you cut your way through the field. How were tires tonight? That's something we really want to know.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the fuel and tire is huge, especially here with the tires. I was really lucky where I had a lot of D1 cars in between the next D2 car, so I could kind of just sit back, I could fuel save, I could overfuel the car, I could take 4 tires. So really, I was in a comfortable position, but while I'm in that comfortable position, I'm still maintaining tires and fuel. And honestly, in the Porsche, the TC comes on so much that you just want to stay away from it in general. I think this track has a lot of first gear corners, so just being gentle on the gas and really just remembering how to drive smoothly will drive you fast here. If you over push, every corner here is a red herring, and you can ABS lock into every corner, and you don't want to do that.
Yes, of course. And that is your first place driver for Division 2, Ismail Elahi. Thank you tonight.
Thank you.
Ismail Alahi finishes 10th overall. Good to talk to him. And we're waiting on other drivers to join us. We're just getting Josh Lyons. We'll bring in Josh Lyon here for a quick chat. And Josh, you end up coming home second place in Division 2. Just hanging on there over Nathan Medina. What happened late in this race?
Well, I was really worried about fuel again because of what happened last week. And with the D1 driver passing me, it kind of took my focus off the track for a little bit, and I kept making small mistakes. I actually had messaged him after the race, telling him I thought he was going to catch me, but I was able to focus up and just put the pace down and finish the race without him passing me. So I'm pretty happy with how today went.
Absolutely, got to be happy with a second place effort here. You're going to collect a whole bunch of points over your series competitors, and that's got to feel good, right? This early in the season, just getting good points finishes is all you can really ask for.
Exactly. After last week's finish, that could have been a podium, and some, missed prep time on my side, I think, is what caused it. So I'm really happy with the result and get back what I thought I should have been last week.
BIR Portugal, now Miami coming up next. Any word on what that track is like for you? Have you gotten any practice laps yet?
I've never driven Miami, so I'm real curious to see how it is. I think fuel savings is going to be big there because of the big bank and the straightaways, so we'll see how it goes. I've got some laps to put down.
Got some laps to put down for sure. Joshua, good to talk to you today. You were one of our nominations for Driver of the Day. Unfortunately, coming up a little bit short of Ismail, but a solid run for sure.
Thank you.
That's Josh Lyon finishing second place in Division number 2. He finishes 16th overall. A solid run right behind Kevin Gillen ahead of Nathan Medina. Now, neither of our top 2 drivers in Division 1 are here to talk to us. So if you're listening, if you're Bruce Day Carvalho or Adam Brockway or Scott Reister and you want to join quickly, we'll have a chat. But looks like Yannick Steinhoff and Paulo Godai, neither one is able to speak with us. Paulo, unfortunately, is not able to speak English. He did want to just kind of forward his thoughts quickly that a podium like this shows that he can still go further in the competition, and he's grateful for this organization of the North American Racing League, but unfortunately not able to communicate with us. We used to have a Portuguese speaker in JP Costa years back in this series. He broadcasted with us here at Pit Stop TV. We miss him dearly. I'm glad to have you, Mason. I just wish I wish you could speak Portuguese like he could.
Yes, I am sorry I cannot speak Portuguese.
And it sounds like Yannick, unfortunately, is not well versed in English either. So, unfortunately, we can't talk with either one of our top 2 drivers, but we'll take it. They are your top 2 for a reason this evening, and I think that speaks enough for itself. Yannick Steinhoff and Paulo Godai out ahead of the field with wins here in the North American Racing League. We can take a look at what's upcoming for us here at Pit Stop TV. Next up, we head out to the Rockingham Speedway for the BRB Racing League Cup Series. And Mason, you have been the subject of a little bit of controversy along with your teammates in that series. Won't go into it here, but there has been a lot of controversy. We're heading to a almost short track, as I'm going to be short and letting Zach Burtis know it's an almost short track. This is going to be a lot of fun. A really fun race, I think, for you drivers. Any outlook on it?
I have not driven a single lap around there yet. So I am not well versed in the language of Rockingham, but my teammates are in right now. We've got a good team behind us. I know we're the team to beat right now, and I know sometimes people feel upset about that, but the controversy will always be there. But Rockingham, I'm going to call it an intermediate track. I think I'm with Zach on that one. But
no, I called it an intermediate.
No, you're
short track. Yeah.
Yes, I'm with you on this.
Yeah,
we're against you, Zach. I'm joking. But, it's a rough track, I've heard, but really got to put some practice in, and hopefully I can go out and win that, because I'd like to have one more win to break Gavin's record.
Have to wait and see exactly how it goes down at Rockingham next week. And Mason going for a record-setting win. It would be the most wins in that series. So, Mason, good to talk to you, of course, about that series, and good to have you here on Thursday evenings joining us for the broadcast. But you see there 2 Homestead Miami broadcasts back-to-back. We go to Homestead Miami Speedway, coincidentally, for the North American Racing League on the road course there, and then we go to the Oval for the BRB Racing League season finale. So a couple of Homestead broadcasts back-to-back, a Thursday, then a Tuesday, March 27th and April 1st. Going to be a lot of fun to keep things down at Homestead for a week.
Yes, and if you want to keep up to tabs with what we have going on and look at some race recaps, go and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, X, and I'm pretty sure now we have a TikTok, correct?
We do, at Pitstop TV 1, I believe. Let me double check there. But we do have TikTok now for Pitstop TV. We're working up on hopefully being able to get at Pitstop TV 1. The goal is to hopefully one day stream on TikTok. So if you could follow us on TikTok, that would be a huge help. At Pitstop TV 1. We'll get it added to the graphics soon here. But yes, on TikTok now officially is Pitstop TV.
They're professional TikTok stars. So we're coming for you, Charlie D'Amelio. I'm telling you, we're going to get more followers.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, one day maybe. Way out in the future. Who knows? But that'll do it for us this evening for the North American Racing League here at Portimao. It's been a lot of fun. Next up on the schedule, Miami, then Le Mans. A couple of really cool races coming up. Then Detroit, Monza, Atlanta, and Daytona. An exciting schedule for sure, and it's all just getting started. Mason, any closing thoughts here from Portugal?
I loved this race. There was so much action. Turn 5 was by far the best corner. And it's a shame we were able to talk to our top 2, but they put a heck of a race tonight.
They had a whole lot of fun out there for sure. Put on a really good race for us this evening. Had a lot of fun ourselves, and that'll do it for us this evening from the North American Racing League at Portugal. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I want to give a big thank you to our partners as well. Of course, with the series, you've got Muradness, JS Consulting, and Screw Compressor Service Incorporated here at Pitstop TV. Want to give a big thank you to Whiplash SimCams, ETVO, CC's Business, Cody Williams Design, Lucky Performance, and the North American Racing League. We went over our lucky break of the day. I think that's going to be, I can't think now. All of a sudden, it's Miguel Colon. With that moment earlier on, I think that's my lucky performance, lucky break of the day personally. But of course, let us know in the comments if you watch this back exactly what you feel like was the lucky break of the day throughout this race. There weren't many, admittedly, so you have to really dive deep and find one, but I believe that is mine. I'll do it for us here at Portimao. The second race of this season, a long ways to go. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you all next time.